All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Generate Gaming. I am your host, Jaws Legacy.
Hey there, I'm your host Chris.
Why don't you tell us more about you? Like, who are you? What do you like to do? What do you like to play?
Oh yeah, hello. I was raised on Nintendo from my first game Mario Brothers on my Game Boy to Mario Party on the GameCube and right back to Mario Kart on the Switch. I'm a Nintendo loyalist through and through. I'm a terrible jungler on League. I will queue in the jungle every time just because I like to make my friends mad. I broke up with Hearthstone last year when Runeterra entered open beta, and now I spend my days staring at digital cards and putting more energy into the Animal Crossing stock market than my actual stock market portfolio. I'm really excited to be a part of the Generate family, and I hope to bring the same energy and attitude of the younger brother that you always wish you had.
So what are we going to be talking about today, Chris?
All right, a few things that have come out in the past couple weeks. The stock market, damn. Gamestop, wow. In all honesty, it's been kind of a weird week when it comes to people's interest in games because we haven't really been talking about games. We've been talking about real money. We've been talking about real stores. And I'd like to kind of dial that back a bit. So my two topics for today are stock markets in video games. What? Why? There's been a tremendous history of us playing with money in video games, and there have been a handful of times where we've actually made real money in video games. That's crazy. And I'd like to take a moment to also just pay my respects to the tradition of going to a store and buying video games, because that might be dying, and that would probably make me kind of sad, but more about that later.
All right, so what did you want to start off with?
I wanted to start off by just seeing your history with money in video games. I think when we started buying video games, it was like 40, 50 bucks for a brand new game.
Yep.
Have you bought a
Well,
brand new game lately?
um, I don't think like I've bought expansion packs, if you would. So like I've got the new World of Warcraft expansion pack and all that when it first dropped. But like actual games, I'm like I kind of wait it out to see like how it looks. Like I'll watch someone on Twitch play it, see if it jives with me, and then I'll usually, if it's a single player game, I'll wait till it goes on sale. Unless it comes free on one of my game passes, like the Ubisoft pass or anything like that, then I'll just get off that because I pay $20 a month and I get that whole game for free. If it's a multiplayer game like Call of Duty or something like that, then I usually give up my money.
Yeah, fair enough. Uh, do you have the number for how much the last Call of Duty was to get the game, the deluxe edition, all the DLC?
Um, it was $79.99 for the base, and then I think it went up from there. I think it was $107 for the deluxe edition, or $120 for the deluxe edition.
That's insane. That's more than what I make in a day.
Yeah.
So video games are something that, I mean, we've been pouring money into since we were kids, but there have also been a handful of times where we've been able to manipulate one aspect of a game or another and actually get money out of it. Do you remember back in early WoW, back before old school WoW was old school, it was just World of Warcraft. When you
Yes.
could go on eBay and you could buy gold with money before microtransactions, you could buy gold from another person,
Yep.
which meant that I could play video games in my spare time and then sell my progress in that video games for money.
Oh yeah, it was big. It was the same thing with what's the other one? Wow, my mind is just slipping right now. RuneScape. RuneScape is the same
That's
thing.
right.
You can sell all your shit off of eBay and stuff like that. There was a separate lobbies and stuff like that just for trading and like real money transactions, which is still going on to this day. Not only that, there was also bets, because you'd have people placing bets on who would win in a fight, and then they'd have a duel, and then they would transfer the money over.
Yeah, the probably the first real stock market that I saw in a video game was in RuneScape when, in elementary school, we'd go to the computer lab on recess. Uh, we'd go to the Grand Exchange and we would try and move millions of gold worth of items and just logs.
Mm-hmm.
And then people would turn it into real money for nothing, for the idea of progress in a video game. You would get real money. And then we saw this again in Path of Exile, and we saw it again in Diablo. And both times, I kind of got a kibosh on it. But in any case, the stock market isn't just a thing that rich people do for money. It's also a thing that kids do for fun, I guess, in a roundabout way.
Yeah, without
Or
even thinking or realizing that they're doing it.
exactly. I had buddies who had charts, real bar graphs, line graphs that they would plot out over time because they cared so much about how U logs were, fluctuating in value in RuneScape.
Yep.
And now the same guys are gambling on GameStop and Dogecoin and, making real money because they have the practice.
Mm-hmm. See, but with that as well, though, like microtransactions have like pretty much, not entirely, but they've pretty much like killed that in video games. Like there are still people that do it, but like there's no way that there's as many people doing it now as it was before.
I would maybe argue that it's just changed hands. If I am able to farm a currency in a game and then sell it without the company making any money on the process, why would the company not just skip the middleman, being me, and offer the gold themselves directly? In most cases, that's how it looks. You play a game like Clash of Clans and you can skip 4 days of progress just by spending $40, which is insane. I don't understand
Yeah,
the appeal to that, but
because
I
people
think
don't
it's
want
just
to do
changed
the
hands,
hard
man.
work anymore. Well, people don't want to do the hard work anymore. They just wanted to get as far as possible, as fast as possible, without. And if they can pay for it, they'll pay for it. It's the same thing
Is it
like
hard?
with it, but it's the same thing with like the battle passes. You can put the work in to grind your way up through the battle pass, or you can spend the $130 to just skip to the end of it and get all the shit right away.
Is it really paying to skip hard work, or are you just paying not to play a game that you've bought in the first place?
I think it's a little bit of both, because you want to be like, it's that showing off as well, right? It's the season just started, and oh look, this guy already has fucking the level 100 shit. Obviously, he didn't fucking put the work in if it's only like a day and a half out. You know what I mean? But it's that point of like you even see a lot of streamers doing it too, just to be like, okay, this is I got with the money I get from donations, I'll just buy all the shit. Same thing with opening loot boxes and stuff like that in Overwatch. Like people actually pay to have someone do that and just open like 100 loot boxes, and then they donate more money to them for fucking opening up loot boxes. And like it's like there's the kids YouTube, right? There are grown adults making videos of them opening up Kinder Egg surprises and little shit like that, and it has tens of millions of views. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
just to
just
see
like
what's inside the thing.
just to see what's in it. So I think like we just came. It's I think it's a stage in the society that we're in right now that it's like I can pay someone money just to make it look like I'm farther in the game.
Isn't it sad? Isn't it a little dystopian that we are at a point in society where people are feeling so low on dopamine, so low on some kind of positive feedback, that they need to pay somebody to just give them this like secondhand emotion that's like opening Christmas presents? I like opening Christmas
Yeah.
presents. I like opening loot boxes. But I just feel a little sad when it comes to, I have a number of siblings, and
Oh
they'll
yeah.
watch people open up Legos, they'll watch people open up different toys, and they don't even get to play with the toys.
Yeah,
They
they
just
just
want
watch
that
someone else.
dopamine release.
Yep. Right, because the other thing too is like in like the season passes and stuff like that, you get the in-game currency So you can even take that in-game currency that you got and get it, like save it up so you get the next season pass for free, because it
Right.
gives you that much amount. Or you can use that money that they give you to get yourself farther along in the battle pass. Not only that, most games give you all the loot boxes for free as long as you play the game. So it's like you can either grind it out and play the game, have fun with it, and not spend money that you already spent. Because think about it, if you're paying for a game and you're paying a full price for it, and then you're spending more money and more money just to get loot boxes and stuff like that, you're ending up spending like over thousands of dollars in the single game. And
There was a small period of time where I played Hearthstone, and probably in the 2 or 3 years that I was playing Hearthstone, I probably spent like $200 on digital cards. I don't have these cards. I don't have access to them. But there was something so charming about opening up this digital card pack and seeing all the glowing cards and hearing
oh
the
yeah,
tavern master go like, "Oh wow, rare."
yeah. I mean, like I'm no different either. Like I've spent thousands of dollars in some games, but like in the back of my mind is, if that's the one thing I think to myself is, I don't have to spend the money on this, but it's that feeling of I can get this now. Oh, it's 99 cents. Fuck yeah, I'll get that.
But it adds up.
Oh, it adds up hugely, and like the game developers know this, and that's why they've also gotten rid of paid DLCs on lots of games now, because they know that they make all their money off the microtransactions, off battle passes, and I feel like Fortnite had a huge play in how this new system works.
Just yesterday, Activision Blizzard peaked, historical peak. It was 10% higher at close than it was at open, um, just over $100 US. And I would have to say that the success of games like Hearthstone, like Diablo, doesn't come from it being a fun game. It comes from it being just this desire to keep opening things, keep getting loot, keep spending money, because there's a dopamine release, right? You get that joy from getting these new things. You're capitalizing on that FOMO because you know that the stuff's going to go away, and people don't want to miss out. The new Call of Duty, with its ridiculously high price point, um, absolutely helped that. And I think that in the next couple of years, we're going to see Activision Blizzard continue to go down this path. It just makes me a little worried because I can't afford to play games if every game
Yeah,
is going to cost me more than $100.
yeah, but at the same time, you also have to consider like why the game is that price. Like look at the games that we were paying back in the day when they were $30, $40 per game, and then look at how the games look now. So like yeah, like the prices of games is more expensive, but you're also paying for the people to put that time in to make the game look the way it looks, play the way it looks, sound the way it sounds.
Right.
Right? It's like having if you're on console and you have Xbox Live or PlayStation, the PlayStation equivalent. You know what I mean? Like you're paying a monthly price for them for their servers. And like in order for them to keep the upkeep of the servers, add more servers and all that, eventually they're going to have to increase the prices in that to make sure that you're able to play the games the way that they're designed to be played. But like a lot of people don't look at it like that. They're like, oh no, like oh they want to put the price of games up another $10. It's like, but think about why they're putting those prices up. Right? Plus
Is
it's
it?
$70, $80 for us because like we're in Canada. Like if you're still in the States, it's only like $50, $60 for them still.
And if you're in Australia, it's $120.
Yeah.
That doesn't follow inflation, and that doesn't follow the currency exchange. I think that there's a little bit of overinflation happening in the industry, and I would really like, potentially by the next episode, just to have some metrics on, who's actually making the money. Are programmers making more money really, or are there people at the top of these studios that are kind of just sucking it all up?
I think it's a little bit of both because you have to look at like the size of the studios as well. Like if you look at the price of indie games versus the price of big name games, there's a huge gap. But there's also less people working on those projects. Like some of the big projects, you have like 50 to 200 people working on a single game.
That's fair. That's fair. The the other example that I had was an Animal Crossing, and Animal Crossing New Leaf, Animal Crossing City Folk. These games came out at about $59.99. Um, the one for the GameCube even came with its own memory card, which at the time would have cost $10 to $20. So you were getting that bundled in with the purchase of the game. And now the one that we have, Animal Crossing New Horizons, came out at $79.99. And we say, okay, it's a new game. It's a year old now. Let's take a look back at all the content that they've added. Because when it came out, there wasn't much. You couldn't swim. There were only a handful of decorations. And that's the whole game. The whole game is just decorating your town. It's very therapeutic. It's very cute. And we can play it together for one of the first times in Animal Crossing history for a Nintendo game. A missed opportunity until now. We can play this game together. There's a stock market in it. Topical. But in comparison to City Folk and in comparison to New Leaf, there is still only a fraction of the cosmetics and only a fraction of the decorations. So we're talking about a game that costs 20% higher than its predecessors, and yet it only has, you know, not even close to that much of the content.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, but that's also a Nintendo game. Like Nintendo games, from what I've noticed, Nintendo games rarely ever go on sale on like the
Correct.
Nintendo store. Their base value never changes. Like Breath of the Wild, I'm pretty sure is still $79.99.
Yep.
And that game is what, 5 years old? Roughly? You know what I mean? So it's like that's the one thing that kind of that I don't agree with. It's like, okay, so this game is like 5, 10 years old, but it's still the exact same price it was when it came out.
So what should the depreciation be on a game? Should it go down in price every year? Is that right?
I don't think it should, like, I feel like it all depends. So like a game studio is given a budget of, how much it's going to cost them to make the game. And then from all the sales, they make that money back and then some. But like at a certain point, it's like, okay, so we're still making full price dollar for this game, even though it's 5 years old. Like you're not going to be selling as much, you're not going to be doing as much. You know what I mean? It's just like, I think that's where it goes backwards. Like I understand when a game first comes out to be the price that it's at, but like 5, 10 years later, why is it still the same price? It's that part of the inflation that I don't agree with.
There's a really good subreddit called Patient Gamers. Um, and one of the things that they focus on is finding games that absolutely when they came out were 60, 70, $80. And you'll have people who are just starting to play the first Last of Us now because finally it's on sale. Maybe it shows up on a Game Pass. And in almost every case, these are people who aren't exposed to where the bar is on next gen games. So you also don't end up having your opinion of this game sullied by comparing it to the brand spanking new ones.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's an option for people who don't want to spend $80 on games. This community being an excellent example. But I also think we both agree that maybe there's a way to speed the process along a little bit, because I really think that there are people at the top who are pulling in a lot more and maybe not paying the people who built the game what they need to be paid.
100%. But that's how it always has been, and that's probably how it's always going to be. Right? That's why you have all these, like, if you look at the amount of indie games that there once was versus how many indie games come out to date now, like the indie games have skyrocketed. And those are private people making games, like little companies making these games, and they're selling them for like $1.39 to like $20 a game. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
In a lot of cases, we're looking at just one person making a game. Stardew Valley, Undertale,
Look at
now extremely prolific, right?
what was that one game that was on phones? Flappy Bird or something like that,
Yeah, good old Flappy Bird.
right? Like that one guy made that as like a little like joke with himself. Made this game, and he ended up making millions of dollars off of it, and then he just shut the game down. Like, I don't understand why he would shut the game down. You know what I mean? But it's like, and then after that, he kind of like, there was like just complete radio silence on this guy.
Oh yeah, that's probably a story that's been lost to history.
Oh yeah.
I think one thing that's happened over time is that we've kind of shifted away from this desire to actually hold a video game in our hands. And I had been thinking about a number of my friends own record players, as well as parents, uncles, whatever, pass them down, and people will have either these vintage equipment or they'll actually just go out and buy a brand new record player when like vinyl has been out of fashion for decades, and maybe in the past 5 or 6 years I've started seeing people pick it up again.
Oh
The
yeah. It's been coming
the
back
same
more and
thing,
more.
I imagine the exact same thing is going to happen with our hard copy video games. The Xbox Series, one of them, doesn't have a disc drive, and for some people who don't want to spend $400, $500 on a console, sure, but there's
That's
something extremely
crazy.
charming about being able to go to a store, pick a game up off the rack, and take it home and have it forever. I don't have to worry about an online client like Epic losing my private information, my credit card information. I don't have to worry about games being taken right out of my account like Cyberpunk in the past couple months. Those things don't happen because unless somebody either comes into my house and takes the game from me or I physically break the item, I have it. It's mine. And that's not something that's going to go away forever. Maybe for a period, but not forever.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but then I also disagree with that, because like we are slowly but surely moving into this very digital world. You know what I mean? Like, and if I buy a game
Hot
on my
take.
computer, and if I buy a game on my computer, it's on my computer forever. I may trash my computer, go buy a new computer, but it's still going to be on my account. I can't sell it or trade it. And at that point is kind of where you kind of lose out, because with a physical copy, you can like, after years and years and years, if you don't open that game, it's in mint condition, like that game could be worth thousands of dollars. And at that point, you can sell it and make some money off it even too. So I think like that's where like the give and take is. But like regardless, like you have that game forever, even if it's digital.
Do you remember when you could buy a DVD and inside the DVD was a code or key, and you would type that key in on Sony's website or 20th Century Fox, and you would get your digital copy of the movie and you would have your DVD.
Yeah, they still do
I
that.
can I can see that happening with video games. I can see going to the store, buying my copy of Stardew Valley, which also wasn't a physical game, but now because of popularity, because of revenue, it's able to print itself, and then also being able to go on Steam, put in my key, play the game on my computer, and have the physical copy on my Switch. I can see that happening one day.
Yes and no, in the sense that you're pretty much getting two games for the price of one. Like there's, as I know of, there's one game like development company that kind of does that, So when you buy the game, they send you a friend code. So you can give that friend code to a buddy, and then they can play the game. But they can't play that game unless it's with you. I can see more games going along with
Right.
that kind of concept over giving you 2 full copies of a game for the price of 1. Because as you said, it's those money hungry people out there.
That's fair. I'm still going to hold out hope. I still want to have my digital copy. I still want to have my physical copy. And I really don't want my GameStop stocks to go much further down.
Yeah.
That store has to succeed or else I'm broke. So,
yeah, but like I don't see GameStop stocks going back up. It was pretty much just that one surge. Like GameStop was a dying company regardless, especially right now with COVID going on and no one going over like out there to get games, trade games. I don't even know if GameStop is able to take games right now because of COVID. You know what I mean? So it was nevertheless, it was always going to be going down. But you had those people on Reddit that were like, well, these guys are just trying to make an extra buck on us. Like, fuck that. And then that's when they did that huge surge of buying the stocks. But like once it's all going to quiet down, like GameStop nevertheless is still going to be going down. Like if GameStop was smart, they would open up an online store like what Green Man does, what Humble does. You know what I mean? Like you can still sell games on there and sell it with like just sell the game code for Steam, for Epic, Ubisoft. You know what I mean? You get the game key from there. And then that would be the smartest way of going about it.
I hear you.
And like that's if they were to do that, that might end up saving them to the point where like they can still have like the physical stores there. Because when we were kids, we'd go into GameStop and stuff like that, and there would be very little merchandising. It was 100% games accessories, all that. But now you walk into GameStop and they got like all this other merchandise. They take and sell phones now. You can buy t-shirts and cups and all this other shit now. Well, like before it wasn't like that, but as they've been going slowly down, they've had to bring other stuff in just to try to get them to be afloat.
So I went on the GameStop website to see exactly how far they took that. Because I know, I've seen it. I've seen the pop figures, and I feel like that was the beginning of the end. GameStop now is selling bath bombs. GameStop is selling lip balm.
Yep.
You can get a Mr. Miyagi Chia Pet, which is not a game.
No,
right? Was there ever a Karate Kid game?
There was a Cobra Kai game that recently came out. I'm not sure if there was
on that.
I'm not sure if there was a actual Karate Kid video game, but like you know what I mean, like
okay.
It was just by looking at what they were doing, what they've been bringing into their stores, like they're just trying to throw Hail Marys everywhere to see if they can just get back to what they used to be. But at the same time though, like once people realize that, you know, like Kijiji came out and Facebook Marketplace and all that came out, people started realizing I can just sell my game myself and get double what they would give me. Because you get a brand new game, you beat it, you take it in to trade it in. Like, yeah, we'll give you $30. We're gonna turn around and sell it for $69.99, but we'll give you like $30 for it. After you just spent $80 on it.
Right.
Right, but if you go to the Facebook Marketplace, like people still realize, okay, it's a brand new game, it's used, people aren't going to pay full price for it, but they'll still pay close to it. Right, so you get an $80 game and you still sell it for $50-$60. Right, that's $20. You majority of the time you'd still make money doing it that way over doing it at GameStop. Plus, GameStop only gave you in-store credit. And like you knew that they're really starting to go downhill when they started doing deals like, hey, if you bring in like 7 games, we'll give you 1 brand new game. So you're bringing in even more inventory that you can barely sell as it is. Sorry, selling the game, like going there to actually buy the games, it was a hit or miss. I mean, like the prices were like $10-20 cheaper for brand new games that were used. So there was that concept of it. But like that was mostly for console players. Like everyone on PC, like look at the Steam sales. Like Steam sale days are huge. While like the biggest days for GameStop is when a new console is being released. And like, when was the last time you stayed up, like went to a store for a midnight release? You know what I mean? Like no one does the midnight releases anymore, because you can just buy it digitally, have it downloaded the day before it comes out, so that when it comes out, you have the first day update, and then you can just start playing right away. So I'm a firm believer that digital is better for those reasons. And like there are, but even then, there's like a website called Green Man Gaming, and it's a huge like PC gaming website, and they have brand new games that aren't out yet that are like 10 to like 13% off before it even comes out. Well, at GameStop and stuff like that, like they're selling full price. So if you have GameStop stock right now and you see it slowly going down and going down, there's probably not going to be another boost up, because that wagon has sailed. I mean, Robinhood put a stop
that wagon
to
has
buying.
sailed.
Right. The like Robinhood went from a 5 or 4-star rating on all of the apps to now being a 1-star app, because they had someone in their pocket and they stopped the trading, which had a huge influence on what the stock market was going to be.
Yeah, I hear you. It's I'm still holding out hope. I know that people are still buying records, and if people are still buying records, despite having access to Spotify, I believe that there are still going to be people who want their real game, despite having access to Steam, despite having access to Humble. This is charming. I like having my actual game. I like having my actual cartridge or my disc.
See, for me, I don't mind having like the hard copy game. But if I'm going to buy a hard copy game, I'm going to go and spend that extra money and get the collector's edition, where I get everything with it.
Yeah, get your action figures, get your posters.
Get the steel case book, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that would be a better idea to spend my money on, because I mean, like, why do you get a record compared to downloading the song on Spotify?
I like it.
Yeah, but aren't records also still better sound quality?
That's debatable. That's debatable. A lot of people will say it is, but that would be the same as buying. People will buy wires with gold in them because they're more expensive, but because they say that they're better sound quality. I believe that whoever's making money off of gold cables is the one telling you it's got better sound quality. All right, this would be a good time for you to put in a sound effect of a car box thing. No, because on February 23rd, if you remember Crazy Taxi, we're getting a game called Taxi Chaos on all systems. This is from the people that brought you Slide Stars and Super Street Racer. This is not an advertisement. I am just so excited because I love Crazy Taxi. Like,
it was a fun game.
The amount of time.
I remember playing that game on like when Facebook games were big.
No, man, in an arcade on an actual machine with a wheel and a pedal, driving this taxi around, like going off ramps, driving through parks. making 15 cents per passenger. That's the American dream. That right there, bottled up in a vehicle. The thing I wanted to point out was that Lion Castle Studios, who are the makers of this game, advertise that they make kid-friendly games about things that matter, featuring world-leading role models. These are quotes from their website, world-leading role models. And I just really want to think about what part of Crazy Taxi features things that matter and world-leading role models. Like, unless we're talking about the working class upon which our nation was built, dude, Crazy Taxi is none of those things. I'm just very excited about this game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, yeah, the one time, like the couple of times I played Crazy Taxi, it was, I don't think it was like the full game. It was like the mini game where it was just you moved left or right to dodge the other cars, and that was it.
Yeah. I love actual games. I love arcade games. I love arcade cabinets, and the idea of getting more of these kind of games back is really joyful to me. If there's one thing that digital games, the advent of like digital, just bringing everything back, put it all on a hard drive so I can play it all. So that on my Switch, I can play NES games, I can play Super NES games, and I can play these old arcade classics as if I had a stack of 200 cartridges, which I don't have room for. I live in a studio apartment. This behind me is as big as this place gets. So I don't have room for that stuff. But the fact that I can fit it all on a console that's this big, that's huge. That's awesome. It brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah, I do really. I think my favorite console is the Switch, just because of the portability it has. I don't have to play on my TV. I can just take it out and play on the actual little screen. Versus the consoles, like I still remember like back when the PSP first came out. Like that was huge. Like when that came out, like that's all I played was on that, or I was playing Halo with my buddies. But all right, this was Generate Gaming. Thanks for watching another episode. I am your host, Jaws Legacy.
My name's Chris.
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share, comment. Let us know what we did right, what we did wrong. We want to know. On that note, thanks for watching. Peace.
See ya.